ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man?
The Louie T Network is powered by the Card Collector Series. Join me, your man, Louie T, on my journey back into the card collecting space with the Card Collector Series on YouTube. Link is in the description. Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to Divisional Round Weekend here on the Louie T Network. Continue coverage of the 2021-2022 NFL playoffs. Thrilling game to kick off Divisional Round Weekend as the Cincinnati Bengals defeat the Tennessee Titans 19-16. Money Mick coming through 4 field goals for rookie Evan McPherson, a.k.a. Money Mick, coming through in the clutch as they walk it off in Tennessee at Nissan Stadium. I will say the stadium was rocking. The Titans fans showed up and showed out. And they deserved better in this game. They did, but once a loser, always a loser. And I told you guys I am now 7-0 in the postseason with my picks that Cincinnati would go in there and win because this is what the Titans do. They hosted the divisional round playoff game as a 1 seed in 2000. They showed you the graphic. I talked about it on the podcast. They lost that game to Baltimore. They hosted the divisional round as a 1 seed against the Ravens again in 2008, lost that game to Baltimore. And now hosting the divisional round playoffs in 2021 as a 1 seed against the Bengals, and they lose that football game. This is what the Titans do. This is their move. They play an AFC North team coming out of their bye week after being the number 1 seed, and then they promptly go home. Last year, they did it against the Baltimore Ravens as well. They weren't the 1 seed, but they played a home playoff game, and they got bounced. This is what the Titans do. And again, this is the time of the year when you have to have that guy at quarterback. And as I talked about on the podcast, you can't win a Super Bowl with Ryan Tannehill. Sorry, not sorry, okay? You can go to the playoffs. You can win some regular season games. You can do all of those things. But when it becomes crunch time in the playoffs, it's crunch time because everybody's good. You're not playing the Jets. You're not playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. You're not going to get a pass this week against the Texans. You're now playing elite level quarterbacks. Everybody's good this time of the year. There are no layups. And Ryan Tannehill isn't the type of guy that takes you on the road and wins a tough game, or in this particular case, at home. Okay, Joe Burrow was sacked 9 times in this game. We'll talk about that in a second because you're going to look at that stat and you're going to say, oh my God, the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line is terrible. And they weren't good today. Let's get that straight. Okay, they weren't good. But a lot of that was on Joe Burrow too, and the offensive play calling. We'll get to that a little bit later on. I want to just finish this thought up on the Titans. We'll come back around to them because to the victors go the spoils. I want to talk about Cincinnati and their big win that gets them into the AFC Championship game. This offense in Tennessee is predicated on running the football. And I thought they got a little bit of that going in the second half. But at some point, you're going to need your quarterback to make throws. We talked about this already. We talked about it with Jimmy Garoppolo with the 49ers back in 2019. At some point, this is not 2000. You can't get away with just a guy at quarterback. Those days are gone. The new rules in the NFL, they're set up where you have to have a guy. And if you don't have a guy, you're not going to be able to hoist a Lombardi unless your defense is the best defense we've ever seen in NFL history. Got to be on the 85 Bears level because it's just too difficult in today's NFL to win with a marginal NFL quarterback. It's just too hard. And there are too many good quarterbacks in the league now that you have to contend with. So that's a bitter pill to swallow if you're a Titans fan. We'll come back around to the Titans. I want to talk about Cincinnati, though, because this is a gutsy win. Their defense stepped up, made some humongous plays in this game. The offense did just enough. Joe Burrow was outstanding in this game, sans for the sacks. That's where I want to start because I want to get the bad out of the way because I want to talk about all the good that this Cincinnati Bengals team has going for themselves right now. Joe Burrow, the one knock I had on him, and I told you Joe Burrow was the highest rated quarterback I've ever evaluated coming into the NFL, higher than Andrew Luck, higher than Trevor Lawrence, some of the guys that you've fallen in love with over the years that you thought were can't-miss prospects coming out of college. Joe Burrow was the highest of the high, okay? And the one knock that I had on him was that he was one of those guys that didn't know when to say when, one of those guys that feels like he can keep every play alive and he took sacks and he threw bad interceptions while at LSU. And that was the one knock I had on him is, hey, know when to say when. Get rid of the football. If nothing's there, chuck it out of bounds. If nothing's there, live to fight another day. And you saw Joe Burrow in this particular game. That's the next evolution of Joe Burrow. And I don't know if he'll ever be that kind of quarterback that either checks it down or gets rid of it. But the next evolution of Joe Burrow is to not take these sacks. One of those sacks, and there were 9 of them, so you can pick 1 or 2 of them, took them out of field goal range. There was another sack that almost took them out of field goal range. And then there was one that was negated by a delay of game that would have taken them out of field goal range. He's got to stop. If he does this next week against Buffalo or Kansas City, they're going to lose anyway. I said this on the podcast. They were going to win this game. They're not winning next week. Whether they go to Buffalo or they go to Kansas City, their season ends next week. But this is a cute story, and it's the beginning of what could be a big-time run for these Bengals with Joe Burrow and all those weapons in Cincinnati, with all the talent that they've put together on the offense and all of the guys they've acquired and built on the defensive side of the football. This team could be in the mix for the next 5 to 6 years with this nucleus that they've built. We'll see what happens and how they keep it together. But the sacks can continue, and he's got to figure out a way not to do that. There's a reason why. This wasn't just today. There's a reason why Joe Burrow was one of the highest sacked quarterbacks in the league this season. Okay, you see why. He holds on to it too long. Some of it goes to the offensive coordinator for some of these route combinations. You know these guys are kicking your offensive line's ass, and they're bringing a little bit of extra pressure. And you know you're going to empty the set. Somebody's got to be underneath. Someone's got to be short that he can get the ball out to, an outlet, if you will, so that these routes aren't long developing, because he doesn't have this kind of time. You've got 5 to protect. They're bringing 6. Somebody's got to be breaking something off short. He can't be standing there waiting for somebody to come open on a 12-yard route. He doesn't have that kind of time. Anyway, some of it is on Burrow. Some of it is on the play calling. And in the offensive line, they got their asses kicked tonight. Big Jeff Simmons, as my guy likes to say over on Sports Fan Entertainment. James, I love it. Big Jeff Simmons. They got dominated up front. Jeffrey Simmons is a beast, but there was no excuse for 9 sacks. Not 9. 3 or 4 were on Burrow. Maybe 1 or 2 were on the play calls of the situation. You need 9. You're running 12-yard routes. They're bringing 6. You only can protect with 5 because you went empty. Yeah, those things happen sometimes. The other 4 or 5, that's on the offensive line. They got their asses whooped tonight. Make no mistake about it. But that said, you won't see a better pass rush the remainder of the playoffs in the AFC side of the bracket. Now, there's some NFC teams that, Tampa Bay and Green Bay, in particular the Rams, that can put that kind of pressure on you if you were to make it that far. But you're not. You don't have to worry about any of that. You won't see any of those teams this year. Maybe in the future, you won't see any of those teams this year. But you won't see that against Buffalo or Kansas City. They can't apply that kind of pressure like the Titans did. Now, the Chiefs aren't afraid to blitz. Okay, they'll come after you, but Joe Burrow knows he has the antidote for that. If you want to get aggressive, he can hurt you. We saw Jamar Chase take a couple of passes and make them big plays in this game. But let's move on to the positives with this Bengals team, man. What grit and determination they showed in this game, because it wasn't always easy. It wasn't always pretty, but most importantly, it was gritty, and it was a dub on the road. And I thought the offense bogged down once they got past midfield a couple of times, which forced them to have to settle for some field goals. Huge kicks by Evan McPherson, every single one of them. I thought that offensively, you saw the talent. You saw Joe Mixon on the cutback run for the touchdown, this kick off the third quarter. You saw T. Higgins be huge. Everyone wants to talk about Jamar Chase, and rightfully so. He's a monster, okay? But T. Higgins is the glue that holds that thing together, along with Tyler Boyd. And C.J. Uzomah was huge in this game. Big conversion after big conversion, big catch to get them back into manageable third down situations. This is the nucleus of their offense. These weapons that they've surrounded Joe Burrow. Burrow is awesome, but you also have to have studs to get the football to, and they've built a nice nucleus around him for him to get the football to. And everybody showed up today and did their individual part. And so I thought Chase was outstanding. I thought T. Higgins was outstanding. I thought C.J. Uzomah was outstanding. And I thought Joe Burrow, in his second career playoff start, even though he did have the one interception. And that was on him. At first, I wanted to blame Samaje Perine. That ball was not put in a good spot for Perine to catch it. And that's a hell of a play by Amani Hooker. Let's call it what it is. And I'm glad they didn't overturn that, because that's a hell of a play, okay? He needs to be rewarded for that. That's one hell of a snag there. But in any event, Burrow was outstanding in this game. Sans for the one interception and the sacks. He was phenomenal. And that's what you come to expect out of a quarterback of his caliber. This moment won't phase him again. This is a guy that played in the national championship game. You know, those guys that played at these big-time college programs and played in playoff games in collegiate ranks and then played in national championship games, they're not fazed by this. They played in front of hundreds of thousands of fans. There will never be an NFL stadium that's going to be like playing at Penn State or playing at Alabama, where there's 110,000 screaming fans and you're on the road. He went to Alabama in that awesome 2019 campaign and silenced that Tuscaloosa crowd. You're not going to have a crowd more raucous than that, okay, in the NFL. So he's been in pressure-packed environments and situations. He's going to be unflappable. And he showed it again today, making play after play in situations where they had to have it again. He's going to have to clean up the sacks, but he was outstanding in this game. Let's go to the defensive side of football, because honestly, that's where this game was won by the Cincinnati Bengals. You come out very first play. Everybody thinks Derrick Henry's going to get the football. And what does Jesse Bates III do? Read Tannehill's eyes, takes him straight to the football, picks it off. That set the tone for the game. I think the play of the game was the Mike Hilton interception, because we could talk about the pick that was just made by Wilson, and I love him, and I talk about Wilson all the time. But that was a great play by Eli Apple as well, to bat the ball in the air to set Wilson up for the carom in the pick off and the interception, to set them up in a position to get one first down and be in field goal range. However, the Mike Hilton play is the play that set all of this up, because without that, you're probably trailing in this game, okay? You're probably trailing in this game because the Titans are going to come away with either a field goal. More likely than not, though, you heard the stat. They're the #1 red zone offense in football for a reason. They were probably going to come away with the touchdown. And Mike Hilton's individual effort to bat the football in the air, then pick it off, was to me the play of the game to preserve a 16-9 lead at that time. And eventually the Titans defensively would get the stop, get the ball back to the offense, and they would, be able to kind of stop the bleeding, so to speak. But that's a massive play by Mike Hilton. And then how about the fourth down stop of Derrick Henry? I disagreed with head coach Mike Vrabel there. In that situation, I think you got to take the points. The score is 16-16. It's not 29-29. It's 16-16, which means defenses on both sides are kicking ass right now. They're not going to be too many more possessions nor points scored in this game. So if you can get a field goal, take the field goal. Now, I think some of that too had to do with their kicker. I don't trust Randy Bullock from 53 yards, which is what it would have been. I don't trust his ass either. So that might have went into their decision-making as to going for it there. In that position, you have to take the points. I feel like in a game like this where field goals have been kicked left and right, that may be the difference in the game. I think you got, because you could get that first down and then 3 plays later be kicking a field goal again. Take the points. But in any event, it wasn't a gimme. It wasn't a layup. How about that stop by the Bengals defense? They knew Derrick Henry was going to get the football. They loaded up and they made the play to stop him short of the first down. And how about the stop on the 2-point conversion? That was huge as well. Big play there by that Cincinnati Bengals defense. And then obviously the play at the end of the game, Eli Apple tipping the football in the air, and then Wilson coming away with the interception. Burrow then finding Jamar Chase and pretty much getting them into field goal range. And then Money Mac coming through. Money, Mac, money. Coming through with the clutch kick to put the Cincinnati Bengals in the AFC Championship game. Now we go over to the Tennessee Titans side of things. And I want to say this last thing too. I thought that up until the interception, I thought that the Bengals head coach Zach Taylor blew it, because after the third down, after the second down play by the Titans, I think it was a short completion. You should have been calling a timeout there. Like, you can't be worried about, well, I don't want to give Tennessee extra time. This isn't the Raiders-Chargers game from week 18 where you don't want to call a timeout because if it's tied, you're good. This is a situation where you've got a chance to get a stop with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd, and C.J. Uzomah. You've got a chance to get the football and get back into field goal range. You got 2 timeouts. Ice one of those bad boys with about a buck. I think it was at the end of that play. I think it was 1 minute and 7 seconds. You better call that goddamn timeout, man. And they snapped that ball with roughly 40 seconds, 30-something seconds left. And I'm like, you blew it. If they don't get this, they're playing for overtime or we win. It's almost like a basketball team playing for the final shot of regulation. Game's tied. We got nothing to lose. It's either we win the game or this thing is going to overtime. That's how you play it in the NBA. Shot clock's off. You dribble that thing down to 5 seconds. You make your move and you pull up, take a jumper, take a three, whatever. And if you don't make it, we're going to overtime. That's how the Titans were playing it. And you're not supposed to allow them to do that. You call a timeout. You say, hey, y'all better do something on this third down. You ain't going to have some bullshit ass call and get away with it and punt it to us with 19 seconds left. You can't take those timeouts with you to the locker room. And they don't roll over to overtime. He got bailed out because we would have been, if they lose this game in overtime, we're having a real discussion about him not using his timeouts there at the end of the fourth quarter to put them in a better position if they get the stop on third down to have enough time to get in the field goal range. But that's nor here nor there. They got the interception and he had 2 timeouts and he was able to utilize them to get that field goal to win the football game. But in any event, you go to the Titans side of the football and you start with the offense because I want to finish on a positive note. Their defense was phenomenal in this game. And so Tannehill, he was awful. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. First play of the game, interception. The Mike Hilton play, that's tough. You know, that's tough on any quarterback because you're not expecting that guy to make that individual effort. But still, that's an interception. That's on you. That last interception to Westbrook-Ikhine, you got A.J. Brown, you got Julio Jones, and you're throwing. What did I say? Make somebody else beat you. I dare you to beat me with Westbrook-Ikhine. I dare you. I double dog dare you. Beat me with Chester Rogers. Go ahead. Beat me with Anthony Ferkser. They can't do it. Don't let A.J. Brown be the reason you lose. They almost did. Tannehill was awful. Okay, you got the 3 interceptions. You got the quarterback keep on the third down where just give it to Derrick Henry, man. I don't even put that on him. Put that on an offensive play caller. You got cute there. Just give it to Derrick. You know you're going for the fourth down. If you don't get it, give it to Derrick Henry twice. And then, lastly, A.J. Brown streaking down the field for an easy walk-in touchdown, and he overshoots him by about 3 yards. Tannehill was awful in this game. Awful. And with that said, as bad as he played in this game, his defense single-handedly tried to give him every opportunity to win this game. 9 sacks of Joe Burrow. They picked Burrow off with a phenomenal play by Amani Hooker, who also had a phenomenal third down hit on T. Higgins to dislodge the football and force a punt. They give up the Mike Hilton interception. They promptly come back onto the field and get a 3-and-out and get the ball back to the offense. Tannehill throws the interception to start the game, giving the Bengals tremendous field position, and they get him off the field and force a field. And if not for the delay of game, they probably don't even get a field goal out of that whole situation. So the defense for the Titans in this game was phenomenal. Okay, phenomenal. Despite Joe Burrow's statistics in this game, they bent, they never broke, and they really gave the Titans, again, if your defense surrenders 19 points, and all of those points are not charged to the account of this Titans defense, because really, this Titans offense gave up probably 3 to 6 of those points by the damn selves. But you give up 19 points, you're supposed to win in this league 90% of the time. Unfortunately, this was that one time for the Titans where they give up 19, but they only score 16. And that's because your quarterback didn't have the crutch of the run game. And got to give a shout out to Deontay Foreman, who was outstanding in this game. And I told you Derrick Henry was going to be good, but he wasn't going to be King Henry. You couldn't have expected him to be King Henry after not playing football for almost 3 months. That's insanity. I get it. The man is outstanding and one of the best running backs, if not the best running back in football. But even he is human. He's not going to have the stamina. He's not going to have the burst, even though he looked good. He's not going to have all of the things that he would have had he played every game this season, had he been in sync and not coming off of an injury. He wasn't going to have football legs. There was a possession in the third quarter where he is gashing and gouging the Cincinnati Bengals defense. He's got to come out. Why? Because he's not in football shape yet. It's tough. So that run Deontay Foreman had, which was a tremendous run, and he had to break some tackles, Derrick Henry probably scores on that play. Let's keep it a buck. But it was Deontay Foreman. And it was still a hell of a run and an individual effort by Foreman because he broke about 3 tackles on the play, had a nice cutback at the very end to pick up an additional 8 or 9 yards. It's a tremendous play. Derrick Henry probably scores on that play. But he's not King Henry. So I said all that to say this. Because of the run game and Derrick Henry just coming back, you were going to have to lean on Ryan Tannehill. And you had to know that this is not the stage for a guy like Ryan Tannehill. It's just not. When they went to the AFC Championship game, go look at Ryan Tannehill's statistics from that postseason. They literally said, hey, you just stay out of the way. We'll call you when we need you, but we don't want you anywhere near the steering wheel, okay? You sit in the passenger seat. Tell you what, your job is to control the radio. I'll tell you what station I want to listen to. I'll tell you what CD I want you to put in. I'll tell you what to put it on when we put the aux cord in because I got an old whip, okay? Because when your run game leads your team, you're not driving in a new fancy whip with Bluetooth connection. No, you need an aux cord to hook up your music and your phone. So you're in control of hooking up the phone and the aux cord, and I'll tell you what I want to listen to. Don't touch the steering wheel. That's what they did to him in the playoffs a couple of years ago when they made it all the way to the AFC Championship. He can't drive. The defense deserved better. Jeffrey Simmons was an animal, an untamed beast. And I don't think a guy on their defense, Harold Landry was outstanding as well. But to me, the guy that has kind of brought all of this together, doesn't get enough credit, is I got to look his name up. It'll kill me if I can't. Danico Autry. There it is. Danico Autry was fantastic all season. He was fantastic in this game. And to me, he was one of the biggest offseason acquisitions for the Titans quietly. No one really talks about Danico Autry and his contribution to this team. But to me, he's the reason Jeffrey Simmons took that leap to all-pro player. He's the reason Harold Landry took that step to a potential, dominant pass rusher. He's the reason why this defense had 43 sacks this season because he really got pressure on the interior and he really helped elevate everyone's game. And I thought he was outstanding again today. So credit to that Titans defense, man. They fought their asses off. They deserve to win this football game. Unfortunately, the offense would have nothing of it, and the Titans fall again, 19-16, and they're one and done like they usually are. And the Bengals are moving on to the AFC Championship game. So let's get to the comment section and see what you guys have to say. We got a game coming up in about 15 minutes or so. So don't want to keep you here longer than I need to. Jay Lee, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, typical Titans playoff game. Yeah, that's about right. That's how these usually go. They're usually low scoring, knockdown, drag out, slobber knockers, where, somebody's winning by about a field goal, maybe 6 points. It's usually not, a big explosive foray. That's not what the Titans are as an offense, and that's not what their playoff games usually represent. But this is who the Titans have been all season. Let's keep it a buck. Like, they're not looking to score 38 like they were 2 years ago, and they could. This year, they've been more of a, hey, let's find a way to win by any means necessary. If it's got to be 22-13, so be it. We'll take it. That's what this kind of game was. And I'm proud of Cincinnati for hanging tough because I didn't think the Bengals would be able, when this game started out slow and I'm looking at all these field goals piling up, I'm like, man, this is a game that favors the Titans. I don't know if the Bengals are comfortable in this kind of situation, but the good teams find ways to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations. And that's what the Bengals found a way to do in this game. I told my wife at halftime, Cincinnati needs a touchdown. They get the ball first to start the second half. They need a touchdown to make a statement because all this field goal kicking shit isn't going to win them this game. And what do? Impressive opening drive to start the third quarter. Joe Mixon caps it off with a nice cutback run for the touchdown. And she said, that's what you said they needed. I said, I told you. That's what, if they're going to win, that's what they have to do. And that was a big possession there. Trevor Patch, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy, Trevor Patch. Writes, first of all, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Ryan Tannehill will be traded. Multi-year failures. I don't think he's going to be traded, because what are you going to do at quarterback? You get rid of Ryan Tannehill. What's your option? What are you going to do? Again, this is not the offseason to be getting rid of a veteran quarterback, because you're not going to be able to replace him with anybody that's better right now. So Ryan Tannehill's not going anywhere. They gave him an extension 2 years ago. He's not going anywhere. But that's not going to stop the Titans from looking to upgrade, in the near future. But yeah, he's not going anywhere this offseason. I doubt that. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Yo, Lou, not just home loss, 1 seed and 1 and done. Yeah, but again, this is what the Titans do. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I expected from them. They're the AFC versions of the Dallas Cowboys, essentially, except they actually played in an AFC championship game 2 years ago, and the Cowboys haven't sniffed a championship game since 95. So that's the biggest difference between the two, but they're one and the same. They can't get it done. And, we talk about Dak Prescott and him being a much better quarterback than Ryan Tannehill, and he is. But kind of the same thing here, you know what I mean? And Dak didn't look terrible in the loss to the 49ers. He just wasn't good enough. Tannehill looked awful in this game. Awful. Just Andre, thank you for becoming a member. Stand up, Just Andre. You are officially in the building as a brand new member of the MOBB. You know what to do. Mob, show Just Andre some love. Welcome aboard, Just Andre. Thank you for becoming the newest member of the squad. See if we got any more. Brown Shoe T2, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, man. It has been eons since we've spoken. I don't think I've talked to you since like the perfect fiasco in Cincinnati with AB and Joey Porter coming on the field and that whole brouhaha. It's been almost like 6-7 years, it feels like. Brown Shoe T2 says, who dey, baby? We need an O-line, but if we can win, he said, but if we can win when we get sacked 9 times, we can win any game. Big Dick Burrow gonna make the Bengals scary every year. I don't disagree with that. You can win any game. You won't win the next game. I guarantee you that. You won't be representing the AFC this year. I told you, your season, this is why I knew you were going to win this game. Your season mirrors that this year of the Bills season last year. Young quarterback coming into his own, coming of age. You see it coming. He's going to be an MVP candidate moving forward. Young team, hungry. They finally win their first playoff game in eons. Same thing could be said for the Bills. And then you're like, shit, why stop now? We won a playoff game. Let's win another one. And then you look up, you're like, shit, we're in the championship game on the road against Kansas City. And it's probably going to be Kansas City again, more likely than not. And you're like, wow, we're here. It's crazy. And then you go home. But this is the start. Just like the Bills, who are back in a position to be back in the championship game again. You'll be back here again next year. Health willing, of course. Right? Guys got to stay healthy, especially number 9. Every time he gets hit low, I cringe and I think back to him getting injured against Washington. And I also think back to Carson Palmer getting injured against the Steelers with Kimo von Oelhoffen. Every time on that play that got whistled and blown dead and he got hit low and he starts rolling around like, oh shit, Joe, get up. Get up, Joe. So he's got to stay healthy. But if he's healthy, this team is dangerous. Let's see. Nick Caps, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Nick Caps writes, tackled by the quarterback on the interception. Yeah, look, man, at that point, he was gassed. You know what I mean? It's not like that was the first play. You catch that interception, and Tannehill, first of all, Tannehill used to be a wide receiver, so let's not disrespect Ryan Tannehill like he's not a goddamn athlete, because he is. Okay, Tannehill can run. So let's not play Tannehill like he's got 2 left feet and he's Jimmy Garoppolo or somebody that doesn't run and can't run. He can run. All right, so There's no shame in getting caught by Ryan Tannehill. So that's a hell of a play still by Mike Hilton. Michael White, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for the being a member of the MOBB, who writes, damn, isn't it so depressing to see what good things could happen when you have a franchise quarterback? It is depressing, but it's not that depressing to me because I've seen this for years. I'm a football fan. I've been watching elite quarterbacks do this for decades. I know what it looks like. I just don't know what it looks like as a Washington fan, rooting for my own team. But I've come accustomed to this, okay? We haven't had a franchise quarterback in my lifetime. I've never seen this organization, Washington, I should say. I've never seen Washington with a franchise quarterback. So I can't miss something that I've never had. Never. Robert Griffin III for a year. That's why everyone was so excited, because we thought we had figured it out. Little did we know it was fool's gold. So I've never seen franchise quarterback. That's why I wanted to keep Kirk Cousins. No, he wasn't great. He was good enough, but that's the closest we've ever come in my lifetime. So, yeah. Let's see. Any more super chats? Matthew, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Matthew, thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Writes, lost $70 on Tennessee -3. All right, look. I gave out winners on Friday. Why would you do that, Matthew? Why? Now you pushed because you went 3, so you were good because I saw 3.5, and you're always advised just about a half point, right? Get it to 4, but I saw 3.5. If you got it at 3, then you pushed. Anyway, he says, "I'll hear you next time, Lou." You're welcome in advance. Ryan, 6 or 7. Joe, a 9 or a 10. That's the difference. A game manager can't match up with a star. This is what I've been saying. You know, like, now again, had Ryan Tannehill only thrown 1 interception in this game and the defense played the way it did, they would have won this game. But he threw 3. One directly led to a field goal. Another helped get the game-winning field goal. So, yeah, you know, the other one took points off the scoreboard for them, but it didn't lead to Cincinnati points. The difference is, as you just mentioned, Tannehill's a 5, 6, 7, somewhere in that range quarterback. And you're probably more right. He's probably 6 or 7. He's not average. Average would be 5. He's slightly above average. And Joe Burrow's upper echelon. He's top shelf. Okay. You know, Ryan Tannehill is the guy, you know, he's Burnett's. You're going to have a headache tomorrow. Drink enough of that Burnett's. Okay. Anything that comes in a plastic bottle, you shouldn't be consuming in copious amounts, or you'll wake up with a stinging headache the next day. Joe Burrow's top shelf. You know that bottle's glass. Okay. That bottle's glass. Okay. That's top shelf liquor. Okay. That's Joe Burrow. That's Justin Herbert. That's Patrick Mahomes. That's why the AFC, that's Josh Allen. That's why the AFC is in such good hands for the next 10 to 12 years. Minimum. They've got elite upper echelon stuff. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Metaphor, who writes, Fitz will be back next year, strong next year. 10-7, top 10. I'm not even entertaining that nonsense. So we got 5 minutes. I'll take some more comments. Niners fan says, right side of the Bengals O-line is terrible. You're spot on. Prince was not good coming out of Ohio State. And I forget the guy inside of him. He was getting his ass whooped all night long. All night long. All night. Oh, night long. All night. One time, Jeffrey Simmons pushed him, and his feet slipped from under him, and Jeffrey Simmons went and got a sack. You know, that right side is hideous of that offensive line. I agree. Niners fan says, Eli Apple is playing great football. I'm shocked. I remember he was horrible in New York and New Orleans. Facts. I thought he was done. I looked at him as a journeyman corner that'll never be any good. But you know what? I've always said that the cornerback position isn't that dissimilar from the quarterback position. It's all about confidence. And that's any position on the football field, but cornerback in particular, because the spotlight's on you. A mistake gets made and everybody's looking at you. And, he's starting to gain confidence in Cincinnati, and he's playing really well. I agree with you. I really do. Let's see if we got any more comments. Niners fan says Tannehill and Jimmy are both preventing their teams from being legit Super Bowl contenders. Again, facts. I don't disagree with that notion. It is what it is. You got what you got, and you got to try to make do with what you have. But yes, I agree with that statement. Captain Spartan 04 writes, "What a game. Indeed, what a game it was. As a Steelers fan, I tried to tell people no matter how much you hit Joe Burrow, bro just gets back up. I've already said that he was the best that I ever evaluated, and I've been doing this since 2012. So I started with the year with Andrew Luck, and he's better. He was better than Andrew Luck to me. So Burrow is the real deal. Got to stop taking sacks, unnecessary sacks and driving his team out of field goal range. But he's legit. He's real deal. Top shelf. Captain Spartan 04 says Mike Vrabel first loss after resting for 8+ days. I thought that Vrabel, I didn't disagree with him going for 2. I didn't have a problem with that. There's some people out there, why did he do it? You get the ball at the 1, you got Derrick Henry. You know what I didn't like? That slow-ass developing play they ran. Essentially it was almost like a counter. Shit was so slow developing, you allowed a guy that wasn't blocked on the backside to come in and make the tackle on the front side of the play. He had that play was so damn slow. You should be just hammering it up in there. We called it in Washington duo. Just turn around, quick handoff, let Derrick Henry. They're not going to stop him from pushing that pile forward. Too damn slow. Only way you stopping Derrick Henry from getting a yard is if somebody gets to him before he gets started. And that's exactly what happened on the play. I didn't disagree with going for it. What I disagreed with was him going for it on 4th down when you got a chance to kick a field goal. Now, again, his kicker, I don't trust. Randy Bullock, I don't trust him. Bengals fans know him all too well. They wanted him probably out there for the 53-yarder. Jets fans know he stinks. Texans fans know he stinks. He's been around the league. He's been around the block a few times. He's actually kicked well for the Titans, kind of stabilized their field goal kicking situation. However, that may have gone into their decision. I just think Vrabel felt like they can't stop us from getting a yard. Bullshit. They did it before down by the goal line. They can do it again. Take the damn points. Again, it's a low-scoring game. Take the points. I thought that was the one mistake Mike Vrabel made in this game. Let's see if we got any more comments. And remember, if you're out there and you're new, sub up to the channel. Hit the turn on your notification bell so you don't miss a thing, and also hit the like button. But use the hashtag. Use the hashtag LouieTLive to have your comment read. Let's see. I think that's it. I don't think we have any more comments here to be read. I don't think we have any more super chats. And the game, the nightcap, is about to get underway here. So I'm not going to keep you here much longer. Brown Shoe T2 writes, DJ Kingslayer Reader has only let Henry have one 100-yard game, and Reader used to play in that division. He was outstanding today. DJ Reader was all over the field. He was the equivalent. Obviously, he didn't have the sacks that Jeffrey Simmons had, but he was the equivalent impact-wise of Jeffrey Simmons on the opposite side for Cincinnati. I mean, he was all over the field, and especially the line of scrimmage. He was playing on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage all game long. I thought DJ Reader was magnificent. Let's see. Any more comments before we go? I think that's it. And yeah, the playoff game is about to get kicked off. They're about to start the Green Bay San Francisco game. So we'll be live after that game has met its conclusion. But what a game to kick off the divisional round weekend. It's the same thing. Cincinnati was in a fantastic contest that went down to the wire last week. They did it again. Let's see if we get 2 snoozers in a row. I don't think that's going to be the case this week. I don't think San Francisco is going to come close to Green Bay in this game. I do expect Green Bay to win this thing comfortably. I think it's going to be close early, and then Green Bay pulls away. And then tomorrow, I think both of the games tomorrow are going to be really tightly contested contests, but we'll see what happens. In any event, Bengals are moving on. AFC Championship bound with the 19-16 win. Titans, once again, one and done. Ryan Tannehill, awful 3 interceptions. And Money Mac, 4 for 4, including the walk-off game-winning field goal from 50+ as the Bengals are moving on. They will either be traveling to Buffalo or to Kansas City in the AFC Championship game. I'll be back after 49ers Packers. Enjoy the game. I'll see you for overtime. Until then, you guys know what it is. Get off the bench, get in the game, kick it with me, your man Louie T. God bless and good night.